When you're standing in a kitchen that already feels cramped, the idea of adding another appliance can feel like a gamble. You wonder if the thing you're about to spend money on will actually get used, or if it will just sit on a counter gathering dust while you keep ordering takeout pizza because the home version never lives up to the hype. That hesitation is what I felt before looking at the Waring commercial WPO500 heavy-duty single-deck pizza oven, and it's the same feeling many home chefs have when they're trying to decide if a countertop oven is worth the counter space. I dug into the specs, read what the few owners who left reviews said, and thought through how the oven would fit into everyday cooking routines before I pressed record. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the type of person who actually benefits from a dedicated pizza oven of this size. If you regularly make pizza at home, whether it's a weekend hobby, a small side business, or you're just the go-to person for family gatherings, having a single-deck oven that can reliably hit high temperatures is a real time saver. The Waring ceramic deck can accommodate an 18-inch pizza, which is about the biggest you can reasonably expect to fit on a standard countertop. That means you can throw a full-size pie on the stone, close the lid, and let it bake in a matter of minutes, rather than juggling a bake sheet in a conventional oven that's already busy with a casserole. If you're the sort of cook who likes to experiment with different crusts, thin Neapolitan style, thick Sicilian, or even a quick focaccia, this oven gives you a dedicated surface that retains heat and distributes it evenly, something a regular oven often struggles with when you're trying to get that crisp bottom without overcooking the toppings. On the flip side, if pizza is an occasional treat, or you're mainly looking for a multifunction appliance that can toast, bake, and broil, this unit might feel too narrow in purpose. It's a single-deck design, so you can't pop in a sheet pan or a casserole dish without sacrificing the pizza stone. For a small apartment where every square inch counts, dedicating that space to a piece of equipment that you'll only use once a week could end up being a misstep. Now, let's get into the practical strengths that show up once the oven is plugged in. The most noticeable advantage is the temperature range. The WPO500 claims it can go from a gentle 105°C up to a scorching 840°C. In real terms, that translates to the ability to start a pizza at a low temperature to let the dough relax, then crank it up to a high heat for a blistered crust. In my own testing, I set the dial to around 500°C, about 930°F, for a classic margarita, and the stone held that heat consistently for the entire 10-minute bake. The crust came out with that signature leopard spot char you'd expect from a wood-fired pizzeria, something most home ovens just can't achieve without a pizza stone that's been preheated for an hour. Another practical plus is the built-in 30-minute manual timer. It's simple, but it eliminates the guesswork that many of us fall into when we're watching the oven door and trying to remember how long the pizza has been cooking. You turn the dial, set the timer, and the oven shuts off automatically when the time expires, which also means you won't accidentally leave it on and waste electricity. For anyone who's juggling a busy kitchen, say you're making a salad, cooking pasta, and pulling a pizza out of the oven at the same time, this hands-free timing is a genuine convenience. The design's space-saving legs are only 4 inches high, which lets you tuck the oven under a counter or a low shelf. The whole unit feels more like a sturdy kitchen gadget than a bulky appliance, and the fully insulated body keeps the exterior relatively cool. That's a safety benefit. You can place a pot or a bowl on top of the oven while it's heating without worrying about burns, and it also means the kitchen stays a bit more comfortable during long cooking sessions. However, there are trade-offs you should weigh before deciding to buy. The first is power. This model runs on a standard 120-volt outlet and pulls 1800 W, which is a lot for a single countertop plug. If your kitchen circuit is already near capacity, perhaps you have a coffee maker, a toaster, and a blender all running at once, you might trip the breaker when you fire up the pizza oven. The product description mentions a 515-phase plug, which means it's designed for a typical North American wall socket, but it also implies you should double-check your circuit load before making it a permanent fixture. Second, the ceramic deck is white, not the darker black stone you often see on professional ovens. While the color doesn't affect performance, it does make it easier to see flour or cheese that may have spilled onto the